In this video, we're going to look at the old record type effect that can be found on this track. Now, if you're using Cubase, and I always say this, there's a fantastic plugin called Grungalizer, and I've called this effect Grungalizer effect because if I was using Cubase, I could just quickly go to that and I could patch this old record scratching sound in. So if you've got that, you're not going to have half as many problems as I've had with this. Also, there are some external plugins that you can use for Logic that do old record scratching equally as well. But in order to kind of keep this within the box and make sure that everyone can do this, I've gone for this kind of radio kind of old-timey sound. Now, let me just play the original scratch just so you can hear it. And the most obvious place that you can hear it is this beginning, but I also can hear it during the verse and the middle 8 throughout the chorus. That's not to say that it's not through here. I suspect that this track goes throughout, sorry, this particular sound goes throughout the instrument actually, but I've only put it in these 3 areas because that is where I can hear it. And with this particular sound that I've got, if I had it on for any longer, it would kind of detract from what I'm trying to do with all the other sounds. So here's the sound. So let me just solo the Next to Me track. And you can hear that kind of crackling effect on top, and you can really hear it obviously right there. It's just like this crackling effect on top of the mix. So just do it one more time. And that to my ears is very much this kind of old-timey record scratching. As the record player is going around, it's kind of creating this kind of that kind of sound, okay? Sorry about that. So the sound that I've got to kind of emulate that, and the pitch I've used here is this, but if you're using Grungalizer, you won't actually have to put in any notes. It does it all for you. And this is just my trigger pitch, okay? So let me just get this running. Sorry, the reason it didn't play then is because I've got this bit of automation on it. Okay, here we go. So let me just solo it. And you can hear it's not got as much crackle as what theirs does. A lot of that is due to this filter that I put on. So if I just whiz that back a little bit, and we'll put this on a little loop so you can hear it. Sorry, this is not going to be very effective there. Let me do it up here because I've got this little kind of fading happening. So here we go. So if we just pull this back a little bit, you can hear the kind of sound, the full sound that it is. If I just bring this resonance up a little bit, turn the analyzer on, you'll see what's happening. And it's not the most effective sound, but it does give us that kind of scratchy old sound. And that'll be absolutely adequate. But obviously, the more you can make it sound like an old record sound, the better, really. So that's one thing that I've done is choose this. But in order to recreate this, I've used the Sculpture instrument. Now I just think this instrument's fantastic. I absolutely love it. The preset that I've gone for is this radio interference sound. Then I've had to come up here to the oscillators and just move these dials around until it kind of gets the shape that I want. Then I've come to this kind of envelope and I've messed around with it a little bit here, and then I've changed the frequencies here. That's pretty much all I've done with it. Oh, no, sorry. And I've changed some of the strength settings as well. It did take me quite a lot of fiddling, and it's a bit of fun to play with this. I didn't mind that too much. And eventually you will get this kind of just normal crackling sound, and that's literally all you're looking for with that. In order for it to go across the mix, I've then put this spreader sound on. So just the default settings, and it now goes all the way stereo across the mix. And then I've also pumped up the reverb with my new reverb settings to make sure that comes through. Now, this beginning part, I have faded it in. Let me show you the automation for this. So press A. Now the automation, so it fades in, and the idea with this is I really wanted it to sound like it belonged to the tambourine at this point, because if you hear theirs, it's very much locked into the tambourine. And one way I've done that is obviously to fade it in, but the other way I've done that is I've actually bussed it to bus 4, which if you remember was my drum mix. Now the tambourine, all the drum sounds go through this bus, so I've literally just come into here, gone down to bus and gone bus 4, and now it kind of, everything that's being applied to the drum mix is now being applied to the Grungalizer effect, and it's giving me this kind of complete sound which I was requiring. You'll also notice from my drum mix that I've actually started adjusting a lot of my parameters now. My mix was going really quite loud, and I was getting really quite frustrated with the way that it was kind of turning out, so I've started turning everything down, getting ready for my mixing lesson, making sure that I'm giving myself enough headroom in the final output. So with that being said, and just before you guys go and crack on with yours, let's unsolo that, let's make sure that's muted, and let's play it, see what you guys reckon. Okay, so that's what I've got, and it literally is just a subtle effect just to kind of enhance this kind of old recordy type thing. That's pretty much all I have to say about that one, and I'll see you in the next lesson.